I see you got your brand. I see the
Oh, come
brand.
on, bro.
Yeah.
Consumer law expert all day, bro.
Okay.
All day,
Yeah. All
right?
right. So tell the people what consumer law is.
So, consumer laws are laws put in place to protect consumers from predatory lending, subprime lending, banks, corporations, auto dealerships, crooked car dealerships, companies that I don't want to name on here. But it protects the consumer because these are laws that these corporations must abide by in commerce. There are laws to charge a certain amount of interest rate. Like an example, we're in the state of Georgia right now, and a lot of people don't know that if they pay over, where's my phone? You got your phone?
Mm-hmm.
All right, look up Georgia State usury law.
You said Georgia State user law.
Usury, Usury.
Okay.
So Georgia State usury law. A usury law is the maximum amount of interest rate that corporations can charge. Each state has their own version of it, right?
Mm.
So people, what's this usury law for Georgia?
It said usury laws limit the interest rate amount a lender can charge. In Georgia, a licensed lender cannot charge more than 10% interest on a loan of 3,000 or less.
All right. So if the loan is 3,000 or less, so that's 10%. What does it say about more? Over 3,000.
Any rate higher than 7% must be specified in writing, but place no limits on rates for loans between 3,000 and 250,000.
Right? So if there's loans that's borrowed under 3,000, then it's 10%. New York, it's 16%. Florida is 18%. So if you have certain loans, credit cards or whatever, and they are above the state usury law, that's an offense.
Mm.
That's illegal, right? But people don't even know usury laws exist. Debt collectors, they can call you before a certain time. A debt collector can't just go park an alleged debt on your consumer report, right? If they do that and they don't contact the consumer, that is a violation, right?
Mm.
If it's called the non parking rule, a debt collector cannot just state that you owe a debt and they don't know if they're speaking to you if they're on the phone,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they don't know who they're speaking
Yeah,
to,
exactly.
right? They're not going to tell a consumer that in writing a consumer can refuse to pay a debt collector.
Right.
Right? They're not telling people these things. They're not telling people that if they have medical collections and it's under $500, it shouldn't be reported on the credit report. If it's a paid medical collection, it shouldn't be reported on the credit report.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If the medical debt is invalid because they cannot provide proof because there is no itemization of the treatment and they can prove the type of treatment and that the consumer got the treatment but they're charging a bill, it's an invalid medical debt. How do you know that the balance that you are charging the consumer or the patient actually got those treatment? You got to be able to prove it for it to be substantiated. That's an invalid medical debt. That cannot be there. If it's medical debt less than 1 year old, it's not supposed to be on the consumer report. These are things that people don't know. Late payments. They must be able to prove a late payment exists because 15 USC 1666B speaks about timing of payments and 21 days before the payment due date. Right, 21 days before the payment due date, the creditor must send out notices and it must contain information from section 15 USC 1637B and it must be mailed or delivered within 21 days of the payment due date from the consumer. They must be able to prove that this was done. If that is not done, they cannot treat a payment as late.
Mm.
Without that being done, how can Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax say there is a late payment? They must have proof that the item or the notices were delivered 21 days, up to 21 days before the payment due date.
Oh, okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I got
so
you.
they cannot prove these things, but there are late payments on people's consumer reports. How?
Mm.
So it's the things that you don't know that you don't know. And for
Right.
anyone thinking about the late payment, or if you're hearing me right now and you got late payment, all you got to do is text the word late payment. So that's late payment to 917 993 5238 and get the late payment deletion guide. Like, there's no reason why people should be tuning into this episode and they have late payment. That don't make no sense when all you need to do is send a text message to solve the problem. So late payment to 917-993-5238, even with medical collections. Like, do you know that over 44 million people gets affected by medical collection? That's 44 million families.
Damn. That's a lot of families.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
So if you're hearing my voice and you got medical collection, or if you know anybody got medical collection, text the word medical to 917-993-5238. Text the word medical to 917-993-5238. Like, learning this type of stuff, reading books like this, and make sure y'all get y'all a copy on Amazon. Right? Reading, like, information has set me free, bro. Because if you want to hide something from a man, what do? Put it in a book.
Yeah, I ain't want to say. I wanted to come up with it.
But it's true.
Yeah.
They don't read. People don't read. And we got to get back to reading. We are so used to a 3-second world where all we're doing is scrolling. Slow down. Just slow down. We got to read, bro.
You learn consumer law through reading or like listening?
There was no other way to read. There's no other way to learn it. You
Oh,
got to
okay.
read these laws. That's why I know these laws. Because if a consumer reporting agency or a debt collector, I get this question all the time, and some people they're probably going to drop it in the comments. Derain, I sent out a cease and desist to a collection company, and they haven't responded to me. Or I sent out a validation of debt, and they didn't respond to me. Well, the reason why they didn't respond to you is more than likely because they couldn't validate the alleged debt. And 15 U.S.C. 1681 I-1A1 speaks about, guess what? If a consumer reporting agency or a corporation cannot validate or verify the information within 30 days, that information must be deleted. But that would be the rebuttal for the dispute that they sent over. But people don't know that these are their rights. So consumer law is there for your protection. Consumer law is there. That's why it's called consumer. It's for you. It's laws for you.
Okay, so it's more broad. It's more broad than like, so it's pretty much just like only it's laws that protect customers or people that spend money with merchants and things of that nature.
Well, if you participate in commerce, right? And
Right.
we all do because we go to the car dealership, we buy stuff. We're all in commerce, right?
Right.
And as we're all in commerce, it's important that you know the rules of the game. It's just like basketball. I wouldn't go play basketball because I don't know the rules, because these guys are going to just run all over me. That makes no sense, right?
Yeah.
And Truth in Lending speaks on the informed use of credit, right? You must be informed about the use of credit. But you go to these firms that's supposed to be that fiduciary, that has that fiduciary responsibility to educate you about credit, and all they do is take advantage of people.
Yeah. For damn sure.
It's not in their best interest to educate you, because why educate you when then you're paying 3% on a loan, and versus you are uneducated and you pay 18% interest rate,
They make way more money.
right?
Way more.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not in their best interest for you to be educated.
Right.
So what do? Well, you got to be responsible. You have to say, yo, there's absolutely no way I should be paying 25% interest rate on a used car. That makes no sense, bro. But it happened to me because I didn't know. And back in 2013, when I got my used Nissan Altima with 75,000 miles at 18.9% interest rate, which I couldn't even get in the first place, I had to get a co-signer for it.
Shit.
Yeah, that part.
Shit.
Dude, I was paying $540 a month. And my insurance as a new driver was another $400. So for a used Nissan Altima, I was paying $940 $50 a month, bro.
Ooh, sheesh.
Yes, that part.
That
Bad
part.
credit is an expensive life.
It very bad credit is a very expensive life.
Very expensive life.
Yes. Ooh.
And we have information now that is here, information that's abundant. So I don't take the nobody ever. I don't accept those anymore. I don't.
Right, because it's
Everybody
out
got a
there.
smartphone. I refuse to accept those anymore.
Yeah, the information is out there.
It is.
Yeah.